So there's a type of current account which I think is worth most of us adding to our arsenal. Remember, you could have more than one bank account. You don't have to stick with just that single current account. And this is a cashback current account that gives you money back on your bills. Now, this type of account is only available from one bank, Santander. And there are potentially 4 different accounts you could have that could earn you that money. 2 of them are available to new customers. 2 of them are available only to existing customers. But I want to do in this comparison, looking at all 4 of those, because if you haven't got any at all, it's a choice between one or the other. If you have already got the other ones, should you ditch them for one of those newer accounts? So what are the names of these accounts? Well, they are the Santander Edge, the Santander Edge Up, the Santander 123, and the Santander 123 Lite. It's the Edge and the Edge Up, which are still available for new applicants. And it's the 123 and the 123 Lite, which are only for existing customers of that particular account. So let's have a look at those one by one, first of all, just to give you a sense of whether you should be considering it. And let's first of all look at the Edge. Now, all of these accounts have a monthly fee. Okay, now I'll talk in a minute about how important it is that you cover that fee with your cashback, but start off with this one. The Edge has a monthly fee of £3. Now, I'm focusing here on the cashback and bills, but I will tell you about the other features that some of these accounts offer. So this one, the Edge, will give you access to a separate savings account called the Edge Saver. I've talked about that before, so you can read or watch my video taking you through how that one works. This one pays 7% on up to £4,000, but only for the first year, because after that first year, the rate drops to 4.5%. Actually, it's a variable rate, so it could change at any time, but you'll definitely know that a 2.5% bonus will disappear after 12 months. Okay, we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus here on the cashback. Now, the main cashback here is cashback on bills. This one gives you 1% back on council tax, phone, mobile, TV and broadband, gas, electricity and your water bills. Now this every single month, this is capped at £10 in total across all of those bills. There's also, and again, we won't go into detail on this one, but also 1% back on spending at supermarkets and some travel, basically commuting, so trains, buses and fuel. The reason I'm not going to go into that is because there are better and other cashback debit and credit cards which will give you the same rate but aren't restricted to certain retailers and certain types of spending. So broadly speaking, I think you're much, much better off just getting one of those. You don't have to think about what card am I using for this. You just spend your money on your other card and earn that cash back. Again, the focus here again is just on that cash back on bills. Now there are some requirements for this one account. This account, pretty simple though, pay £500 in every single month. That is it. And pay out at least 2 direct debits. But again, that's going to be really easy because this cash back on bills is when these bills are paid by direct debit. So that is not going to be an issue for you. So that's the Santander Edge. Let's look now at the Santander Edge Up. This one is more expensive every single month. It is £5 a month. Now you do get interest on the in-account balance here, 3.5% on up to £25,000. Again, I wouldn't bother with this one personally because right now you can beat this. Go to becleverwithyourcash.com/savings for all the top easy access savings accounts. You can get way, way above this on potentially even higher balances if you need higher balances. Now you could argue, hang on a minute, Andy, but I'm earning interest on the money that's in the account. So I've got to have money in the account to pay the bills, right? So why don't I get this rate? Yeah, that's true, but it's not a huge amount of money. And I don't think actually when you do the maths later on, it's actually going to make much of a difference. Based on how much money you would have in there, you're still better off putting most of your money in a separate savings account and getting a higher rate of interest. Now the cash back on the bills here, exactly the same. 1% on council tax, your phone, your mobile, your TV, your broadband, gas and electricity and your water bills. However, the monthly cap is increased to £15 a month rather than £10 a month, which sounds good. But as you'll see, when we get down to some of the calculations later on, it's not actually going to make much of a difference because I don't think people are going to be earning £10 a month on this one, let alone £15. And if you are, because your bills are so sky high, potentially you've got loads of mobile phones in your family, maybe you've got the full Sky or Virgin package, pushing it up, then you'd be better off haggling, shopping around and doing what you can to bring the price of those bills down so you aren't paying as much, right? This one, again, same £1% cash back on certain spending with your debit card. Requirements slightly higher there, pay £1,500 in every single month. Doesn't have to be in one go. You can put smaller amounts in and out if you wish. So they're the ones as new customers you can get, the Edge and the Edge Up. So next up, let's quickly look at the old accounts for those of you who do have this, so you've got that comparison. The 123 account, this was really popular for ages. This one has a monthly fee of £4. You get interest on your savings here, 2% on up to £20,000. Again, that is rubbish, easily beaten elsewhere, so do not use this for your savings if you still have this account. Now, the cashback here works differently. You've got 1% on your council tax, your phone, your mobile phone, your TV, and your broadband bills. And if you have a mortgage from Santander, that as well. However, that is capped. Each of these tiers are capped at £5 a month on those areas. So if you do have all of those, including your mortgage, it may well be that you're not getting the money back on all of that money. But still, 1% is pretty decent on those, especially with the mortgage repayment. This is where it gets different. You also get 2% on your gas and electricity. Now, obviously, bills have been coming down in the most recently in 2024, but they are still sky high compared to where they used to be. Now, if your bills were 250 quid, that 2% cashback would get you that £5 cap every single month. Now, that is quite a lot on our bills. For most people, I don't think are going to be there. Doesn't stop you potentially paying £250 every single month by direct debit to get the full cashback and then claiming that money back from your energy company. Although bear in mind, that can take a while, so it's not always instantaneous. And then water bills, even higher, 3%. So potentially here, the opportunity to get more money, more cash back on your bills. A requirement of just paying £500 a month and those 2 direct debits. So that's the 1, 2, 3. And then my personal pick of the bunch, only for existing customers, is the 1, 2, 3 Lite. The monthly fee is the lowest of the lot here, £2 a month. There is no interest on your savings, but it doesn't really matter because you can get those higher rates elsewhere. And the cashback rate's exactly the same as we just went through for the 1, 2, 3. The requirements, slightly more you have to do here. You have to make sure you sign into your online app banking every 3 months. And you also need to go paperless. But I think most of us, that's not going to be a huge issue. So they are the kind of the 4 different accounts. And you might be thinking, well, obviously I want the one that pays the lowest fee and the one that pays the most cashback, which is the 1, 2, 3 Lite. And you are right. That's absolutely going to be the best profitable one for you just on cashback alone. But let's have a look. Give you a proper example of what you could earn from these by looking at my bills right now, what I'm paying for those core bills and how much I would earn in cashback after the fee every month and then every year. So first of all, my monthly costs, I'll take you through them quickly. Council tax, £228 a year, really expensive, just gone up. Broadband, pretty low there, £28. Probably could get it lower, but I've gone for quite a high speed one with high uploads because of what I'm doing, uploading videos, uploading podcasts, content all the time. Mobile phones, where we pay 2 of those, we only pay £8 each. Probably could get that down a little bit as well, actually. Gas and electricity, I'm still paying £250 direct debit in order to trigger that top cashback because the bills weren't too far off that. I think that's going to come down soon. And water bills, they've just gone up to 40 quid. So with the 1, 2, 3 Lite account, which is the one that I actually still have as an existing customer, my monthly cashback after the fee is about £6.92, which comes to £83 over the year. Really good, right? Now, if you have got the 1, 2, 3 already, and again, we're not taking into account interest on this, just the cashback on bills, over a year, if your bills were the same as mine, that higher fee means your monthly reward is £4.92 and your annual reward is just over 59 quid. Still, pretty decent just for paying your bills. Now let's look at the new accounts. If you're not able to get those ones, you're not an existing customer, you're starting off from scratch, what would you earn? Well, the Edge account, that one, your monthly total after the bills, after the fee, £2.62, only £31.44 a year. Again, based on my bills. And if you go to the Edge Up, well, that fee is even more expensive every single month. So all you're going to get after that is 62 pence, or at least what I would get, which is £7.44 after a year. So if you're just looking alone at how much cashback you will earn, it's a no-brainer. If you've got the 1, 2, 3 or the 1, 2, 3 Lite, you stick with those accounts because you are going to earn way, way more. And if you're a newbie and you're looking at opening up one of these accounts, again, if as long as you pay these bills, I think makes sense to have it, you'd go for the Edge over the Edge Up. Okay, really, really simple in terms of that cashback. And yes, £31 doesn't seem like a huge amount of money every single year, but year after year after year, it adds up. It's simple, passive income. Of course, what you can then, once you've looked at it just for cashback with the fee taken into account, you can also look at those additional features. And this is where I know some of you might be thinking about ditching a 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3 Lite in favor of the Edge. And that's access to that 7% paying 7% paying Edge Saver. Now that one, again, 7% is really, really good. It's really almost impossible to beat that one right now. And the amount of money you would get if you had the full £4,000 in there, the maximum you put in there, is 280 quid a year. And that is unbeatable. And obviously we're assuming here that you are taking into account the cashback is taken into account the monthly fee. So that is reduced so that you are getting that full 7%. I think that's pretty good, right? But what I would say here, what I would urge you to do though is, I think, remember, that is a variable rate and it's only for 1 year. So after a year, you will be getting a lower rate. Okay, you'll be getting 4.5%. Now, and actually it's variable, so it could well drop, and that would be beatable. So really you're talking about just for a single year getting this particularly high rate of interest on only up to £4,000. And because you can put the same amount of money in another savings account, which might be paying less, but overall getting you a decent chunk, I would still stick with the 123 or the 123 Lite. And if I was tempted to get this account for that 7%, I would open it up anyway, but just would know that that fee would lower it down. I think as long as you have at least £2,000 saved into that Edge Saver, the fee reduced will actually mean you're getting around 5.2%, which is roughly, the time of recording this, the best you're going to get elsewhere. So just £2,000, you're still taking advantage of a top paying saver. And if you're getting 4%, then it's nudging up above 6%, which is still really good. Plus, you're getting that increased cash back year after year after year from the 123 or the 123 Lite. Although, of course, they could at some point decide they're going to close that for existing customers and force us across, but they haven't done that just yet. It's also worth saying that you can open up a joint account as well as a single account of the Edge account. That fee will take into account every single time you open it. But if you do have a joint account, you can open up 2 Edge Savers, one in each of your names. So then you're going to be able to obviously have £8,000 saved in that account, but only one set of fees. Again, meaning you're going to get effectively a higher rate of interest even after you do deduct the fee. So let's assume you've already got the 123 or the 123 Lites, or you're going to open up the Edge. And again, you can ignore the Edge Up. Just a couple of quick tips to help you make sure you manage this and you don't fall foul. I would always set up a standing order from your existing current account to go into this separate account. You can have it as your main account if you want to, but I think it works best as a separate account just for bills. And the amount you want to put in there, transfer over, is enough to cover those bills every single month, plus maybe a smidgen more. I would do this just after payday, so you're not going to accidentally spend it twice. You get paid, that money goes across into your Santander account. And then I would try and trigger, it's not always possible, your direct debits to all be paid just a few days after that. So your money isn't going to spend too much time in there when it could have been elsewhere earning interest. It's going to be, you get the money, get the cash back, great. Next month comes around, it repeats, and you keep earning that money as you go along. One thing to think about though is if your bills do change, and you need to keep an eye on this, but if they change, make sure you adjust the amount of money you are sending over to that Santander account to pay those bills. Because if you just let it go automatically and forget about it, then there obviously is that risk. There isn't enough money and you default on one of those payments. And don't forget as well that that money, that cashback will be paid into the account. It's always worth just dipping in there at times and transferring that back out into a separate account for you to spend or save elsewhere. Now, I have written much more about these different accounts and this comparison over at becleverwithyourcash.com. So head over there, just type in Santander and you'll be able to see all those reviews. My name's Andy Webb. This is Be Clever with Your Cash. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these videos here for more ways to get the most from your bank.